Join us as we shine a spotlight on compelling conversations with leaders from Washington State and beyond. This is Conversations with Katie Hall. So Terrance, thank you for sitting down with me today. I really do appreciate it. Talk to us a little bit about UFC and mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts, it's pretty much everything. So it goes from like wrestling to grappling. There's elbows, there's knees, there's kicks. It like implementing every weapon that your body has. And UFC is probably like the biggest MMA organization. For people that don't know about the UFC, I would say it's equivalent to being in like the NFL of your sport, or like being in the NBA.
Yeah, UFC is watched across the world. What made you get into UFC? When did it start for you?
I kind of always used to watch like Jet Li fights and stuff like that. I always used to watch fights, and then I always thought about it. It wasn't something that I originally wanted to do. I was kind of scared to do it. One day when I was like at this party, I did like over an eighth of shrooms of violet acid, ended up seeing demons, died 3 times. And then in my trip, I was fighting all these people. They come like one of the baddest men on the planet. And then like only like these super galactic like ambulance could like sedate me. And in my trip, when the cops came, they're like, Terrance, we don't know how you got this powerful, but you need to stop. And then in my trip, I said, yeah, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And then like eventually I fought all these people to become like one of the baddest men on the planet. And after I seen all that, I was like, if I seen that when I was dying, I was like, God must want me to fight, because there's only one place you get a title like that, and that's the UFC. And I went to college one more year, and didn't work out. I dropped out, and then started my journey in MMA.
Wow, that's such a powerful story. I just want to take it back for a second. When you said it like you actually died that night, what was like? Do you remember like when you actually closed your eyes and like what did you see?
What happened was like I was in the ambulance, and I was doing all this crazy stuff with my hand, and then like a crazy star with like a ring around it came on. At first they were like laughing at me. I felt like everyone on earth laughing, like what is this goofy kid doing? And I felt everyone on earth laughing, then die. And then like I'm like floating in space with like everyone on like out there like who probably died. And then I wake up, I'm like in the next scene, I'm like in heaven. I'm standing up, I'm like a warrior, like I have like this crazy armor on, but probably because I'm God's warrior, you know?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But and I was sitting on this paradise just waiting, and then I woke up.
And when you woke up, what was the first thing you saw?
I was in the hospital, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I did. This can't be good. I need to escape ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to stop for a second. What a remarkable story. And so when you came back, you said that you had to be a UFC fighter. Mm-hmm. And so talk to us about what that journey was like getting you to the UFC.
Well, first, I had to do the right thing, so I didn't go to jail for like 5 years, because I ended up like injuring 3 cops. So we just had to handle that, and that's what it got too hard, going back to court and trying to do school.
Yeah.
So eventually I just had to put that to the side. And then I started fighting, I think like 2016, went pro like a couple months later, like probably 8 months later. So towards the end of 2016, or 2017, I mean. And then I did my first pro fight, and I submitted a dude in like the first round. And then after that, it was just a crazy journey. I think I got to like 4-0, 5-0. And then I broke my leg.
How did you break your leg?
Kicking someone like Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
And because I was like, that was the first time, because I was like about to be done. I was like, all right, this is where I'm about to start showing people I got hands. And then I rocked the dude, and I got all excited. And I was like, all right, that. And I throw a kick, and he gets scared, like throw a scared punch, checks the kick on accident, and it snaps my leg. And it feels like I get tased. And I was like, whoa. I stepped back, I was like, that was not good. And then this dude runs at me, and I double leg him, break the other side of my bone, my tibia and my fibula, boom. Take him down, grab his leg, get in like a sub position, like get him on top of me, like holding him. And I was like, ref, my leg is broke.
Wow. And so once you got out of the ring, what was that recovery like with your leg?
Oh, that was crazy. It was
And you
like
need your leg for
it was
MMA.
like 6, maybe 7 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6, 7 months. And so,
All I asked right after, I was like, am I going to be able to still fight again? That's what I asked, and that's all I was really worried about that night. And God made a way for me to still be able to do this, so I'm grateful.
what made you get up? Like, you know, because you're telling us about, for real, things that could stop a lot of people. What made you keep going?
It's just like I already invested so much into it, and I was like, I already knew God had a plan, so like quitting wasn't an option. You know what I mean? He already put in my head, and I was like, and just like kind of how I raised, like just being who I was like, quitting wasn't an option for me.
Absolutely. What do you want to say to anybody else that's thinking about quitting something that's important to them, whether it's sports, life, their job, their family? What would you like to say to them to inspire them?
I would say, don't do it. It's easy to quit, you know what I mean? But like that pressure will turn you to a diamond. That's what I'll tell you. Like if you keep pushing, keep digging, keep putting the heat in it, staying in there, cooking, and yeah, you're gonna become a diamond, man. And it's gonna be worth the tears, everything. Once you make it to that light.
So yeah, absolutely, right? And you're known for being aggressive, having fast hands. Talk to us about the fight that you're most proud of that you've had.
I would say this fight I did against Bobby McIntyre coming up. He just knocked out a UFC fighter, and I took the fight. Everyone thought I was gonna get cooked. They were telling my coach, "What are you doing? You're throwing him to the wolves." And then we go out there and put a whooping on this guy in the first round. End up getting a rear naked choke. A couple days later, I got the call to be on the Contender Series.
What was that like for you?
Oh man, that was sick. That was sick. It was sick. I was like so excited. I was like, all right, I'm almost right there.
You know, what is that like? Because I mean, you know, you're clearly very talented, very disciplined, and very motivated. What does it feel like when people look at you as an underdog, when you know that you're no underdog?
I kind of love it because it makes me want to work harder. You know what I mean? Because when you prove something wrong, like I tell people, there's someone talking down, they don't believe in you. Success is the best revenge, you know what I mean? Like when they see you did it, like, you know what I mean? You don't have to ever say nothing. The work gonna speak for itself.
Talk to us a little bit about like one of the fights that you felt like was like your worst fight.
I would say my fight in Brazil. I was doing everything right. Also, like before my fight, during the warm-ups, I'm like wrestling to get warm, and one of my coaches pokes me in the eyeball and like scratches my cornea. So I go out that fight seeing triple and end up getting flying kneed in the second round. That's probably like my worst fight because like it felt like I was getting jumped. I was like, oh shit, where this motherfucker coming from?
You said you feel like he was getting jumped?
Yeah, I was like, fuck, this is terrible. I'll never do that again. But I was thinking, I was like, I already get half the money, I might as well try to go get the other half.
You were already in the mindset that you know what happened. That's the reason why that kind of impacted that fight. But how do you get back up when you have fights that you feel like aren't your best fights or like just things happening in life? How do you continue on?
I had to pray because, you know, fear got in my mind, getting killed like that. I just had to ask God to reinstate the warrior in me. And yeah, he flipped the switch back in my mental, getting closer to God and making me realize like who I am. I was like, dude, you almost beat Drew Dober on a couple days notice, you know what I mean? I was like, you are that guy. So God already made you that guy. You got to believe that you are. And I had the right coaches. He said, you got too many people behind you to go backwards. You know, he said, you got your kids, you got your family, you got a member. All you can do is go forward. There's too many people behind you. So that just stuck with me. And then I was able to flip the switch back on.
Are there any former UFC fighters or current fighters that you really do enjoy watching them fight and that you learn things from?
Yes, I love watching Corey Sandhagen, Israel Adesanya, Anderson Silva growing up, Mike Chiesa. Really, I just be watching all the fights. Like I'm a huge like mixed martial arts fan. Like if I'm not watching fights, I'm watching boxing. If I'm not watching UFC or boxing, I'm watching one championship. Like karate combat. I'm always watching something where, because like I tell people, you can learn something from anyone, because some people just develop different techniques that work for them. I mean, so you can always learn from anyone. That's what I tell people, even from a white belt. So I always take criticism and I use it to help me evolve.
Absolutely. Growing up in Spokane, what were some of the lessons that you took from Spokane that you still use in your career?
Coach Howard there was like a father to me, and it's just a saying. He said, "You just gotta hate losing more than you like winning," and and that's just something I always tell people. I say they can't stop me even if they stop me. You know what I mean? No matter what happened, don't let anything break you. You know what I mean? You're only as good as your last performance, so just make the next one the best one.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, you brought up something that I think is important for many people to hear about. You talked about being sober. How have you been successful with being sober?
I'm not always successful. I always have some faults. You know, everyone
We all do.
make mistakes
Yeah, we're all
sometimes.
human.
Just making sure I'm moving like a king, like I said, like not like a bum. So, cause I didn't realize how much like your kids really watch everything you do. So just working on not cussing and things like that. So my son's a great leader.
And what is your future hopes for UFC, MMA, 25 years from now?
Just make sure I get the belt, having residual income, making sure I got money stored up for my kids, starting a nonprofit for people that can't afford the best gyms to be the best of themselves. So making that free for people. And also all it's gonna take is just one day of sobriety, and also just mentor these people, show them that God is the way. So just lead as many people as I can to God. That's my goal. Just through ministry and doing something I love at the same time. Have my kids in the right position. They're going to college or wherever they're, or high school, or however old they're going to be. Be able to fly my whole family out, not just like my kids and them, but just making sure like we can link up every family holiday and get them all out there. You know, that's like a huge thing of mine. Just having family close. You know what I mean? Because in the old days, families never left each other. It just became a whole village, you know what I mean? A whole city. So I just want to have that kind of vibe and just have multiple houses together where we can always just see each other.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Because if you need your family,
Yeah.
that's where the strength comes from.
Exactly. And then if we work together, the income's just going to go even better from there.
So you look at MMA as a vehicle
Yeah.
to get you to your goals
Yeah.
overall.
I'm doing this for my kids, and also, like I said, like if I'm going to do something, I have to be the best, you know what I mean? But all this is just so for me to have the right viewing and the audience to where I can preach about God, you know what I mean, and show people that Jesus is the way. And yeah, so like that, I thank God for giving me MMA so I can have this platform and I can have these chances to take care of the people around me.
Just 10 days after my interview with Terrance, his younger brother, Gabriel, passed away from toxic fentanyl. This could happen to any of our children, which is why his mother, Katara Johnson-Jones, is joining us now to share his story and his purpose.
So Katara, before we get into this very heartfelt story about your family, your son, and what you want the entire nation to be able to really look at and think about as we think about overall well-being for our communities, as we think about self-care for our communities. I believe all of this is inclusive. Can you please tell us a little bit about the Gabriel Challenge and what you want people to know about it?
Well, the Gabriel Challenge is because fentanyl is so complex. There's so many systems and ways to address it, and a lot of the efforts are disconnected. And because of that disconnection, Gabriel, before he passed away in August, I was a busy mom like most moms. He had written a plan because he had been in recovery for the last 9 months or so. And so before he fell and had a relapse, which is also part of recovery, where he ultimately died because he received a poisonous fentanyl pill that March 3rd of 2025, a day after his birthday. But that plan that he sent me was in August of last year. And that plan, I didn't look at it because I was busy. I was like, yeah, can you shorten it up? And it was called the Community Care Collaborative. And in this, it's almost as if he left his legacy in this 66-page document. And it's exactly what we're doing with the Gabriel Challenge. It's bringing the community in together. When I look at it, we have crises in different communities. And I know for Spokane, we had a windstorm and we lost like 4 people or so. And the entire community had an emergency response and responded to it. You had law enforcement, you had the fire department, you had, healthcare, you had EMTs, you had government all coming together on a regular basis for this emergency response so we didn't lose any more people. And then we had the Great Fire, which was huge. And I think it was 6 or 8 people that passed away. I'm not sure on the numbers, but it was around in that context. And the same thing happened. We had this emergency response, all of the industries coming together to address this and make sure that people had the resources they need.
And it's something that impacts all of us, right? It really does. I mean, fentanyl is everywhere. It really is. And like you said, it's inside of everything too.
His father lives in Georgia, and he was like, Katara, I was going to bring him here and, maybe help. But he said fentanyl and the usage of fentanyl and abuse is everywhere, even in the little town of Georgia that he lived in. So he couldn't even go there. So where is the safe place in our community? Where is it? Where is the safe place in our nation? Well, if we have to think about it, we can build it. We can build it. We can make every community a safe place. We shouldn't have to move to have community. And so with that being said, I know we can do it. It's good things happening in all of the communities. We just have to come together, pool those resources. And sometimes we can't wait on somebody else to respond. And that's why I believe that this movement, I brought mothers in because we move differently. We're not waiting. We're not waiting. We're not following the rules and the protocols. We will relentlessly pursue justice for our kids. And that is also what the Gabriel Challenge is about.
Katara, you have always been passionate, and this right here, you have so much work ahead of you, and we're all here with you. And like you said, the mothers, what I love about you working with the mothers is when you train a mother or you give a mother something to care about, they change the nation. And you are that mother, and you're the mother.
Thank you.
You are that mother, and we're here to support you. And when you think about, like you said something that actually made me cry in the inside in this interview, because I was trying my best to keep asking you questions. And you said there was 360 people that showed up to his services, his funeral services. And you said if at least half of those people, or even 10 of those people, was actively in his life when he was living, how big of a difference that could have made for Gabriel and all of the other Gabriels out there. So what can we do? Anybody that's watching, Spokane, Washington State, or anywhere across this nation, what can we do to lock arms with you with the Gabriel Challenge and prevent further people from...
Get involved in your community and help map it. Be honest with your elected officials and get your city and your county to work together, along with those state and representatives. Work with law enforcement to see what's missing, what is happening, what's missing, but come together collectively. Don't do it from a lens of shame and blame, and you didn't do this. And a lot of us moms, family members, we have to be a cold fire. Oftentimes we burn hot and we're not heard because we're yelling, we're in our active emotions. And this is harder to be a cold fire, because at the end of the day, we must be heard. We must be heard. In addition to that, get involved in your community. Disrupt the drug markets in your community. Those downtown areas, start going there again. Start going to your local park again. Because the more people to show up, people who do things in the dark, when there's exposure, they're not going to be able to do that because they're afraid of being caught. And I think that's what it's about. And saying no more children are going to die to this serial killer fentanyl. Have those conversations, map out what is happening, map out what's missing, and then meet with your community to determine what's possible. And then what can you do? Whether it's being upstream, spending an extra intentional time with your family members, because I'm a working mom. I get busy too. I totally get it. But there's something about making at least, even if minimum, an hour a day. Put the cell phone away, look your kids in the eye, Make sure that you're being observant. If your kids are in a truck or in a car and they're sitting in front of the house for long periods of time, that's something that I didn't notice at first, but I didn't know they were using. Go down in those basements and the bedrooms and see what's happening. If you find foil with burn marks, it could be hidden in a couch, it could be hidden in different places. Go look and see. If something feels off to you about your child, probably is. So find out what it is that they're going through, listen more attentively so that you can be able to provide an effective response. And those are things that we can do. Make sure that your neighborhood is present, and those are the practical things that we can do. And then send letters, emails to your representatives, your Congress members, to let them know what matters. This is an emergency and we must respond. Political sides cannot come before people. People are dying, and there are hundreds of people dying a year. Hundreds of people dying a year, and sometimes multiple people in a day. And sometimes if the person takes Narcan, I know folks that had a heart attack the day after. So, but they don't count it as a fentanyl death because it wasn't fentanyl that killed them, it was the after effects of the Narcan. So we need to find what we can do by getting involved.
Absolutely. And Katara, before we take off, what do you want to say to your other children? What do you want to say to your family? Gabriel was the convener. You said he was the glue. So what do you want to say to your other children?
I love you, and I'm committed to being more present, more connected, and I won't let your brother's legacy die. And we can do this together.
Gabriel's life mattered, and through the Gabriel Challenge, his legacy will live on by saving lives, building awareness, and reminding us all how quickly things can change. To Katara, we thank you for your strength, your voice, and your unwavering love as a mother. This is only the beginning.
I'm Katie Hall. Thank you for taking this journey with me.